Hello, my friends. I'm glad you are here. Take one slow breath. Let's begin our quiet story. Have you ever wondered why humans collect things? We put things away. We keep them for later. It feels simple, but it has a long history. So let's ask a gentle question. How did collecting things slowly shape human life over time? Long ago, collecting was not a hobby. It was not just personal taste. For early people, collecting could mean safety. It could mean survival. It could even change who had more control in a hard season. Long before cities, people lived close to the land. They moved often. They followed animals. They searched for water. They watched the seasons. They carried very little. If you move again and again, you cannot carry many objects. So early people owned only a few things. Even then, they still collected what helped them live. They gathered dry wood for fire. They found sharp stone for cutting. They kept animal skin for warmth. They saved strong vines for tying. They picked seeds and nuts for food. They kept bone for small tools. Then they tied these things together and carried them. They kept them close at night. This kind of collecting was quiet. It was slow. A strong cutting stone was not easy to find. If you found a good one, you kept it. A better tool could change a day. It could cut meat faster. It could cut plant fibers for rope. It could shape wood for a shelter. One small object could make work easier and safer. In a small group, everyone noticed what the group had. If one family had strong tools, the whole group felt it. Collecting things was also collecting knowledge. People remembered places and paths. They remembered where to find good stone, good clay, and clean water. A simple memory could help the group live. Over time, some groups began to stay longer in one place. They found steady water. They learned to gather more food in one season and keep it for later. They built stronger shelters. They made simple storage. Sometimes storage was only a hole in the ground. Sometimes it was a basket. Sometimes it was a clay pot. A person might cover the top with leaves or a flat stone so food could last. When you can store food, you can plan ahead. When you can plan ahead, you can stay longer. When you can stay longer, you can build more. And when you build more, you can keep more things. Slowly, a home became a place where things stayed. People saved grain and dried fruit. They saved seeds for the next season. They kept extra rope and spare tools. This changed how people thought about ownership. Not only "this is in my hand," but also "this stays in my place. This belongs to my family." As villages grew, collecting changed again. People collected for meaning, not only for survival. A person might wear a necklace of shells. Another might keep a carved bead. Another might hold a bright stone that was rare nearby. These objects did not feed you, but they showed belonging and skill. Think of a small village gathering. People sit near a fire. Hands move slowly as they tie a cord. A child watches and learns. A bead is passed from one palm to another. It is small, but it matters to the group. Then trade began to grow. At first, trade was simple. One group had good stone, another had salt. One had animal skins, another had shells from the sea. People met near rivers and open paths. They showed what they brought. They exchanged. Trade carried objects from one place to another, And when objects moved, ideas moved too. A new tool shape could travel with a traveler. A new way to make a pot could travel with a trader. Imagine a trader walking at sunrise. A small pack is tied on their back. Inside are beads, salt, and a few sharp stones. They stop at a village edge. They share a drink of water. Then they open the pack and show what they have. This is how distant places begin to connect. Over many generations, travel became more common. Some people did one kind of work again and again. Some made pots. Some made cloth. Some worked metal. Some carried goods between villages and towns. They walked for days and protected their packs from rain. Collecting shaped work because making and moving objects became a steady job. In time, larger powers began to rise. Villages became towns. Towns became strong centers. More people lived together, and more goods were stored in one place. In the center of a town, there might be a storehouse. It is a plain building, but it is important. Inside are jars and sacks in the dark. Outside is a strong door. A person stands near it, holding a simple key. That person opens the door for some people and keeps it closed for others. A door can change daily life in a town. As large powers grew, collecting grew with them. A strong center wanted useful goods from many places. It wanted metal for tools and wood for building. It wanted grain for food and cloth for clothes. These were basic things people needed each day. When a center collected more of them, it could feed more people and build more. It could also demand more from the lands around it. Think of a road outside the town. A cart moves slowly. A sack shifts as the wheels turn. At the gate, a guard watches. Inside the town, the sack becomes part of the stored supply. The movement of goods became part of daily life for many people. In many places, the center required payments. Farmers gave part of their harvest. Villages sent cloth or oil. Workers gave part of their labor. When collecting became organized, an object could mean more than one thing. Imagine a worker bringing a bag of grain to the storehouse. The grain is food, yes, but it is also a payment. It shows what the worker owes. The bag is weighed and counted, and then it is placed behind the door. Later, it can be given to soldiers, to builders, or saved for a dry season. The grain stays the same, but the control around it changes. This is also when counting marks became useful, not for stories at first, but for simple lists. A person might press a mark into soft clay or scratch a line into wood. Later, someone looks at those marks and understands what is inside the storehouse. The marks are simple, but they guide decisions. Over generations, families also changed how they collected. Some families stored more, some stored less. One family might have better land, another might live close to a trade path, another might have a skill that people needed. Extra goods could help a family in a hard season, but extra goods could also create distance between families. Some people had only enough for daily life. They used what they had and saved very little. Others had fuller rooms and more tools. Quietly, stored things began to show who had more safety and who had less. In calm times, this difference might feel quiet. In hard times, it could feel sharp. A dry season, a bad harvest, a sickness, a conflict, stored goods could become the difference between eating and not eating, and those who controlled storage could become stronger. Now we come to a harder chapter. It is not dramatic, but it matters. As towns and large powers grew, collecting needed hard work from many people. People dug fields, carried water, harvested grain, cut wood, and moved heavy loads. Some mined metal and rowed boats to carry goods. After a long day, a worker might sit on the ground with sore hands. They might look at the storehouse door and know they could not enter. They helped fill the jars and sacks, but the goods were controlled by others. This is one quiet way collecting changed society. It could separate the people who worked from the people who decided. Collecting could also bring conflict. When one group wanted what another group had, peace could break easily. Rich land near a river, a mountain with metal, a forest with strong wood, a coast with salt. People protected these places and the roads between them. They built walls, they trained fighters. So collecting helped shape borders and control of land. But the story keeps moving because tools keep changing. In the time of factories, daily life changed. Before factories, making objects took time. A pot took skill and patience. Cloth took long work. Metal tools needed heat and careful hands. Then production became faster. Workshops grew into factories. Transport became quicker. Goods became cheaper and easier to replace. Imagine a factory floor. Workers stand at tables. Parts move from hand to hand. A bell marks the start of work and the end of work. Outside, carts and trucks wait. Objects leave in large numbers, day after day. For most of human history, many objects were kept for years. People repaired them. People reused them. People passed them down. In the time of factories, many objects became easier to replace. If something breaks, many people can buy another. If a family needs more tools, they can find them more easily. In the modern world, storage became much larger. Homes gained closets and garages. Companies built warehouses filled with boxes and labels. A worker moves items on carts, row after row. Trade also spread across oceans and across the world. A cup made far away can appear on your table. A shirt made in one country can be worn in another. A phone can be made from parts that come from many places. Collecting is easier now because moving things is easier. Modern collecting also changed city life. In a city, you see objects all day. You pass shop windows. You see the same kind of shoes, the same kind of bags, again and again. You also see what other people carry. One person buys a bag that looks strong and useful. Another person buys a similar bag because they see it often in the street. In a city, objects can become part of daily life in this way. People walk past each other, and objects are there in their hands. At the same time, collecting became more private. In a small village long ago, everyone saw your life. In a modern city, you can collect in your own space. You can keep things that no one else sees. You can store memories in drawers. You can keep unused items in boxes. And now, collecting has moved into a new form. Digital collecting. Photos on phones, messages saved, videos kept, music lists, bookmarks, files. They are not on a shelf, but they are still stored. People organize them. People protect them. People worry about losing them. So, collecting things is not only a small personal habit, it is part of the long human path. Early people collected to survive. Village people collected to store food and tools. Towns collected to feed many people and plan work. Large powers collected to control land and labor. In the modern world, factories make many objects each day, and trucks and ships carry them far away. And now, let's come back to you, here, today. You might be sitting in a room with many objects, or maybe you have only a few, but you live in a world shaped by this long habit. Next time you hold a small object, take a calm moment. It could be a cup, a key, a notebook, a piece of cloth, a phone. Remember that long ago, an object could take a long time to make. It could take travel to find. It could take trade to obtain. It could be repaired many times. It could be counted in a storehouse during a hard season. When you see storage today, think of older storage, a clay jar in a dark corner, a basket hanging in a shelter, a small room filled with grain, a traveler walking with a bag of goods. And when you notice how easy it is to get things now, think about how long this path has been. Long ago, many objects took days to make. People had to find materials, carry them, shape them, and protect them. Over many generations, people worked, carried, traded, built, and saved. Step by step, towns grew, roads formed, ships traveled, and storage became larger. The modern world did not arrive quickly. It was built slowly, through many hands and many seasons. People before you also held objects in their hands. They also saved things for later. They also protected what they had. They also carried what mattered. They also lost things and replaced them. So when you live your modern day, you are still connected to them, not by names, not by faces, but by daily life, by hands, by work, by the simple habit of keeping what matters. Thank you for spending this quiet time with me. Take one more slow breath, and when you return to your day, do it gently. If you enjoyed this video, give it a big thumbs up, share it with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos.